What if I told you that you could have a super solid EDC for about 35 bucks? Yes, it is possible, and I'm going to show you how in this video. Budget EDC gear doesn't have to suck, and it can actually be a joy to carry. So who do I think budget EDC gear is for? Honestly, everyone. To me, I think it's great for people that are just dipping their toe in the EDC world, or if they're going to end up going down the rabbit hole like the rest of us. Remember this video when in 6 months you start collecting the same item in 15 different shades of OD green after you just watched this to learn about getting a better pen than the one you stole from the bank. Budget gear is also for those that have been in the community for many years that have every grail item they could ever want, but maybe they just need some backup gear to keep in their vehicle or at their desk at work in case they just need to loan something to a coworker, but they don't want them to ruin their custom knife or walk away with their $200 titanium pen. Either way, don't stress because I've compiled a list of a couple of items for each of what I consider the pillars of a great everyday carry. Write, light, slice, and pry. Controversial. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through each one of those items, let you know what I like, what I don't like, and how much they cost. Now that all that is out of the way, let's get into the video. First up on the list is one of the kings of EDC, I might say, is the Muji pen. So I used to live right by a Muji and I don't anymore, which is probably, I don't know, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Everything in there is so cheap that it's almost hard to be mad at Muji, but yeah, this is a great pen and it is a little bit on the larger side compared to your average Bic pen, but it's not comically large and it's not like, bigger than a Sharpie and goofy. It's just, it's a little bit on the longer side, but it feels comfortable in hand. It has a really super, listen to that. It has a really super tactile, positive click, some would say. Is that like a buzzword in the EDC world? Positive click. It sounds really good, it feels really good, and it's $1.90, so it's not breaking the bank. And if you actually look right here, inside there, it says, it's hard to see it, but it says like and subscribe for more of this kind of content. So, so yeah, it's a great pen. I really like it. This one is actually 0.5, which is my preferred, I think, thickness or weight. I don't know what the right phrase for that is, but they sell it in 0.3, which feels a little too scratchy for me. And I think even 0.7, which is like probably a baseball going across your notebook. But yeah, this is really nice. Plastic's not the most durable, but for $1.90, you can't really beat it. I will say, if you're not into the clear and you want something a little more slick looking, but first of all, I mean, the clear is sick. If you're, if you grew up in the 90s like me and you miss that clear technology where you could see all the wires and circuit boards through it, this might really catch your eye. But yeah, if you want something a little bit more slick looking, this nice black version is really cool, and it's only 90 cents, and you can choose your own adventure by adding a refill for it. So yeah, these don't come with a refill, they're just an empty body, a hollow shell if you will, and yeah, you can just add whatever size you want at the Muji website or on Amazon, I believe. I don't know if these are on Amazon. These are definitely on Amazon, especially in like a 10-pack or something like that. So you can get a whole lot of pens for not a lot of money. And yeah, these are great. So shout out to Muji. Get yourself one of these cheapos and you'll be super happy with it. By the way, grab a notebook, like a little pocket notebook from the dollar store, and you'll be off to the races. You'll be writing stuff down, keep it in your back pocket, and you won't have to take your stupid phone out and get distracted by 400 notifications. You can actually remember what you wanted to write instead of seeing that, wow, you got text and Instagram and emails and all this stuff, and you just get back to the point of thinking clearly and making a note. Up next is the Zebra F701. You can see that it says so right on the pocket clip, which is a great pocket clip actually if you want to throw it in your shirt pocket. It might be too tall for some pockets, but I would say this pen is pretty much kind of like a standard size, probably a little bit thicker than your average Bic pen, but it feels really good in hand. It's definitely thinner than the Muji by a substantial amount, and actually a little bit shorter there, about half an inch or so, an inch, I don't know. It's definitely a difference, but it feels really, really good in hand. The knurling is grippy, but not sharp. it just makes for a very nice writing experience, some would say. But it feels really good. The refill is nothing special, it's just some unbranded one that they have in here. But I guess they make pens, so they have it figured out. It writes really smooth, it feels great, it's ballpoint, just like the Muji, and I really like it. I think it's an awesome pen. And for $7, if you consider the fact that it's this durable, as long as you don't lose it, it'll really last you probably your entire life. So to me, $7 doesn't seem that bad for something that's gonna last forever. Using your phone's flashlight is handy, but it's not really bright. As far as I know, I looked up how bright an iPhone flashlight is, and they say it's 50 lumens, but I don't think that's true. It seems probably closer to 10 at best, which is not really bright. And when you're trying to do something hands-free and trying to like fix something or look for something, you might want it to be hands-free, and a phone is not. So that makes it pretty difficult to really do anything if you're trying to like keep the phone in your cheek while you're doing stuff. It's just not, that's not the move. So enter the Olight i3E, very small AAA battery size. You can see it's the i3E EOS. So this flashlight is a twist on 90 lumens, one mode, very simple. Put it on your keychain if you want. And this one you really can't go wrong for $9.95. It's basically $10. The old version of this used to come with a pocket clip, and it used to have 3 modes, which I thought was unbelievable for like the $13 or whatever that it cost. And I think that this is just a simpler version that I think is more mass appeal, because I think more people probably just want a flashlight to turn on and then turn off and find some stuff and, you know, keep it moving. But I don't know, I'm a nerd. I like the 3 modes. I like the pocket clip. The pocket clip was kind of reversible on the old one, so it's a little bit of a downgrade, but at any rate, it's a very reliable light, and for $10, it's great to just have in your backpack, or, you know, keep in your vehicle, or keep on your keys even if you're crazy and you would like to walk around with an entire flashlight hanging from your keys. Next up is the Streamlight MicroStream model number 66318. The model number is very important to this one because this is the one that accepts a AAA battery. It's super compact, and the other model that looks like this is rechargeable, has a battery built in, but it's more money. This one's like $20. So 66318, you can put in your own rechargeable AAA, and it's just a little bit cheaper. You can just keep a charged battery, and you know, that's up to you to decide. But I think going cheaper and just swapping out batteries, especially someone like me, I've got so many rechargeable batteries, it just makes things easy. Sadly, I don't have this light anymore, which is why it's over here. I think I gave it to someone years ago, but I can say that I had it for so many years, and it was really, really solid. It was a great flashlight. It's got one mode, 45 lumens. It just clicks on and off, and it's got a 2-way pocket clip, so it's just really versatile. You can put it on the front of, you know, the brim of your hat if you're trying to do a task in the garage or fix something or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're up on a ladder and you're doing something, you know, dangerous, like changing the direction of your AC vent, and you're trying not to fall off, so you have it on the front of your hat so your hand's free. So it's much safer than, you know, you keep 3 points of contact that way. But yeah, I love this flashlight. You can't go wrong with it. It's a great one just to have, and I highly suggest you check it out. Next up, the crown jewel of most of my EDC loadouts is typically a pocket knife. I carry a variety of knives, from budget knives that are mass produced to expensive one-of-a-kind custom knives that are handmade by a knife maker one at a time. First on the list here is the Ontario Knives Rat Model 2. This is the Model 2. It's about 3 inches in blade length. The Model 1 I think is like 3.5. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Probably should have checked that before I started this video. But anyway, it comes in AUS 8 blade steel, which is not amazing, but it'll get the job done, and it sharpens easily. I bought this knife probably in like 2014 or 2015, and I don't use it anymore. I have a lot of other knives that are better, but I can say that this knife is pretty amazing. And honestly, if you wanted to get the one in D2 steel, it's a much better blade steel for probably $10 more. I would spend the money to upgrade to a better blade steel than AUS 8 personally, but this will get you where you need to be. I will also say that this comes in a variety of colors. There's different handle colors, but they're mostly like earth tones. And then the blade comes in either black or plain blade. The black one doesn't look very good after you use it, but I kind of like that. I like a little patina on there. And you'll notice there's holes all over the handles. That's because this pocket clip is a 4-way pocket clip. You could carry it tip down or tip up, and you could put it on either side if you're lefty or righty. It also has a lanyard hole, which is really convenient. There's a lot of features on this knife for 40 bucks. It's pretty dope. Liner lock is amazing because your finger's not gonna, go on the lock bar when you're trying to open it. Just keeps things simple. And it's got a nice flow through design. So if you do some muddy, dirty activities, you can just literally just rinse this thing out and you'll be good to go. And I just really like this knife. It's awesome. It's such a good knife. Pocket clip's really good. I don't know if it's the pivot geometry or what's going on with this, but man, this action just puts a smile on my face. It's just really, really good. I love this knife so much. And actually, I have this one off set here out of the frame. This is a knife that Mote gave me that I believe was going to be a sprint run for Blade HQ, but it never happened. And man, I kind of wish they did make this because these colors are tremendous. This would be the Desert Warrior colorway, and it's pretty awesome. But anyway, that's the story with the Ontario Rat. I really love it. 40 to 50 bucks. They used to be 30 to 40 10 years ago, but it is what it is. I think for 40 bucks, you can't go wrong. Spend an extra few for D2, and I think you'll be really happy. It'll last you a really long time. Speaking of Mote hooked me up with this ridiculous Desert Warrior, not to be confused with Desert Warrior, Civivi Elementum. And I'm using this as an example because it's the only one that I've got, and I think it will get the point across here. So don't worry, it does come in normal colors, not just this insanity. So there's a huge variety of colors. I think this is probably one of the most popular knives maybe ever made at this point. I have no statistics to back that up other than me just seeing it kind of everywhere on the gram. But yeah, this also has a flow-through design. It has a deep carry pocket clip, which is really nice because if you're new to knives, basically you won't really see any of the knife coming out of your pocket at all, which is really convenient and gives it a little bit more of a secure carry and keeps it more discreet. So here's the story with back flipper knives for me. I think if this knife existed when I started getting into knives, I would probably own like 30 of them because it's really cool and it's just really comfortable in your hand. Feels great. However, I'm not really a huge fan of these, kind of back flipper style knives anymore. I've moved on. It's just a personal preference. There's literally nothing wrong with it at all. I still have a few, but it's just not something I gravitate towards in terms of deployment methods. But I will say, with a lanyard hole, another one with a flow-through design, this deep carry clip, you could probably get it in a variety of blade steels. I don't even know what this one is because it's been painted baby blue. It's crazy. What a crazy knife. Yeah, there's just so many that you can choose from. And these are about 50 bucks. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them from your local knife shop. Whatever is clever. Civivi Elementum. So maybe you like the idea of having a knife, but you don't want such a knifey knife. Maybe you want something a little bit more slender, more minimal. Enter Victorinox. The Victorinox floral knife for $16.95. A classic knife, albeit not the slickest looking package. This is a solid knife that can last you pretty much your lifetime, and also the Victorinox warranty is absolutely incredible. But yeah, this is just a great little sheep's foot blade in a pretty thick handle, which is actually super comfortable. It might not look very ergonomic, but honestly, sometimes these just like simple, straight patterns just feel great in your hand, and it's just really good at cutting stuff. It's got a really thin blade, and this is just a dope little knife. It's got stainless steel on it. As we all know, the Victorinox Swiss-made stainless. Let's see if we can get a little close up there. And it's just, it's a classic. So if you bump it up a few bucks, you can get this Alox model that's pretty much the most basic form of a Swiss Army knife. It's the Victorinox Solo. And technically, this is not a Solo, this is a Cadet, because it has a few more tools. But for illustration purposes, it'll do. I just want to show you guys kind of the size of it and what it would look like. So essentially, you would have this, again, pretend that these other tools are not there. You have this 84 millimeter single blade with nice A-lock scales, and that's pretty much it. For $21, you get a classic Victorinox Swiss Army knife and this beautiful silver A-locks with a red shield, and you're good to go. But again, imagine that this is what I say it is. So if we get a Bantam, that adds this combo tool, which is pretty sick because you have almost a little pry bar built into here, as long as you don't go too crazy with it, because obviously this is not one solid piece of metal. It is, you know, a multi-tool essentially. So you have a cap lifter, as they call it, bottle opener, and then this is a flathead driver, and then a more or less useless wire stripper here, which I've never stripped a wire with these, but you know, I guess that's what you can use it for. There's a notch in it. I don't know what to say, but yeah. So that's pretty much just under 24 bucks. And again, a really cool way to carry, you know, a few tools in one very compact package. So I really like the Solo model is cool, but I really like the Bantam a lot. And again, the Cadet is my favorite, but it's a little bit more money. And again, we're talking about budget gear. So that's where we're at. And also, I know there's going to be a ton of you out there saying that a Swiss Army knife is not durable enough and that you need a locking knife and all that. But I think if you really ask yourself what you're going to be using a knife for in your day-to-day, it'll probably be opening Amazon boxes and maybe some food prep. So let's all just calm down and just open our minds a little bit. Swiss Army knife is sick. I think everyone should have one, basically. This should be in everyone's collection. Some form of A-locks. Just a heads up, the A-locks bug is very real, and if you get one of these, there's a very good chance you may end up with way more of them than you could have imagined. I have quite a few Cadets in my collection, almost an embarrassing amount, I want to say. And the bonus round here, the pry bar. For some reason, pry bars are one of the most polarizing pieces of gear in the EDC community. I, for one, used to use one pretty much every day when I was working as a commercial photographer. I can understand being critical of pry bars that are $100 plus, but it's very hard for me to see anyone poo-pooing a pry bar like the two that I'm about to tell you guys about, since they're both $10 or under. I've used pry bars on photo shoots for everything from tightening camera plates for my tripod to opening paint cans and even opening a wooden crate containing a gigantic camera stand that was shipped all the way from Europe. I think you'll be surprised when you realize how many different uses you end up having for a pry bar, especially when it's a little cheap one that you can just keep in your bag or on your keychain and you can beat the living crap out of it. These two also have built-in bottle openers in them as one of their multiple functions. Next up is the $7 Goliath. That is the Night Eyes Doohickey, which is a weird name, but it has the word key in it, which is actually pretty clever because that's the best place to keep this thing, is right on your keychain. And I know you're thinking, I hate keeping stuff on my keychain, and I do too, to be honest with you. I really hate bulk on a keychain. I don't even really like keys in general. I find them to be very annoying. I don't want to think about them. I don't want to sit down on them. I just hate keys. But anyway, this is pretty much a little bit bigger than a mail key. It's probably in between a mail key and a house key. And it's super thin, as you can see. And it's just a really great thing to have on your keychain, because if you don't have a dedicated pry bar, this will get you out of a jam. So let me walk you guys through a couple of the features here. So we have this spring gate, which is really strong. I've had this for a really long time, and this thing's never had any issues. I actually pretty much never take it off my keychain. If I need it, I just have the keys dangling from here because you just use it for a couple seconds. But I will say it's pretty clever. So anyway, you have the pry bar section here, and as you can see, it's got a little grind there to make this corner just a little bit sharper than the other side. It's not like, you know, you're not going to use it to cut an apple or anything. I mean, I guess you could, but yeah, you can open some packages with that. You can open a paint can here, whatever you got to do. You know what I mean? You got the bottle opener here, and there are 3, it looks like, hex, you know, notches if you were in a real bad spot in your life and you really needed to loosen or tighten something with this, you could probably do it somehow, but thankfully I've never had to deal with that. But yeah, this thing's really awesome. And for $7, I mean, come on, even if you carry a $100, whatever, $200 pry bar, if you're snooty like me, if you're one of those people, then this is just nice to have, because sometimes you don't remember to bring a pry bar with you, or if you're just out and about and you don't feel like carrying a lot of gear, this is already on your keychain. So I don't know, I really like it. I think it's a good little thing to have with you. Next up is another one that I don't have with me because I'm pretty sure I gave it away to someone a long time ago, but it's such a great little device. The Gerber Shard, it's under $8, and let me just read off some of the features that it claims to have, because it says it's a 7-in-1, but that's up for debate. So it says it features a pry bar, a bottle opener, small flathead driver, medium flathead driver, wire stripper, a cross driver, basically like Phillips, and a lanyard hole. A lanyard hole to me doesn't really count as a feature, so let's call it 6 things. And the wire stripper, I don't know about that. However, if you just take a look at it, you can see that it might get you out of a jam also. This is something that you can keep on your keychain, and it's fairly small. And I think it's a pretty good little, it's a good little tool. I prefer to have something like the Night Eyes doohickey, but this is also good depending on the kind of stuff that you do at work and all that. Like if you really need to pop some nails up, or if you need a Phillips head more than you need a flat head, then this is probably better for you. But again, it's $8. You might as well get both of them and see what you end up using. If you don't like it, you can give it away to someone. Either way, you'll have your bases covered with one of these 2 items. So if you take the cheaper items from all these lists, you're at around $35. And if you take the more expensive items from all these lists, you're at around $85. So it depends on, I think, really, if you want a more dedicated locking knife, or if you're cool with a Swiss Army knife, something smaller, something more demure, if you will. I don't even know if that's the right word. So yeah, so I think everyone will have their bases covered. You can really get some reliable, solid gear without spending a lot of money. And again, if you're, someone who's been in the knife game, the EDC game for a long time, and you just want some backup gear, this is a really great way to have some secondary redundant gear in your system, if you will. It doesn't have to be a system, it could just be your backpack. So you can have some really reliable gear without having to spend a lot of money. It'll last you a long time. It's good quality stuff, and just because it's cheap doesn't mean it has to suck. So I hope you guys found this video very useful and helpful and informative. And if you did, just make sure that you like and subscribe for more of this content. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care.